Rock 108. Hey, it's Ned. Holy shit, I'm excited about this one, man. Avatar is in town tonight at the Avatar Festival. That we're just gonna call it that from this point
Let's call
forward.
that from now on. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, it's Upheaval Festival in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was complaining how I had to drive 7 hours to get to Michigan. How long would you say it took to get from where you're at?
Oh, I'm still trying to arrive, to be
Okay.
perfectly.
All right, cool.
My bag is still in limbo, and we're over like 10 days into the tour or something. So
Yeah.
I'm very close to actually landing in the U.S. as we speak.
All right, we're still figuring it out. We're in the air as we speak,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
So, Avatars, who we're talking about, man. We got Johannes here, or Johannes or Johannes? Let me get it right.
Johannes is good.
Yes, that was good. All right. Sometimes I get the screw up names so hard, man, but I'm working on it.
No, the
Getting
only
good.
thing that Americans sometimes tend to do is treat all European words and languages as French, meaning think they can get away with shit if they just remove the last three letters.
Okay.
So usually the last syllable in my name turn into a confused look. Hey, Johan, and then they look like deer in headlights.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like when people pronounce Glenlivet Scotch like I believe it's Glenlivet. But no, Johannes is good.
They try their best to say it.
Yeah.
We try our best. I feel like I'm
I know.
trying.
I believe in you.
Oh, cool. I appreciate that, man. So we were talking a little bit off the camera a long time ago in Waterloo, Iowa, where I'm from, where the station is based in the area, and you guys were performing at a place called Spicoli's Reverb, and I remember going to that show and seeing you guys, like 50 people were at that show because you were just starting to kind of show up here, and I'm like, and I saw you guys perform, and like, there's no way this band is ever coming back here because this venue is way too small for them. So seeing the guy uprising and just how America has really grabbed onto you, I mean, how's that kind of going for you?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's good. Like, but I mean, people were really. I mean, of course, it has grown since.
Yeah.
But just in relative terms to how we've been doing elsewhere and stuff, North America has been very kind to us since day one. You know, and kind was if 70 people showed up, but maybe at that time someplace else 7 would have shown up. So
Right, yeah.
U.S. has been very cutting edge in their Avatar adaptation.
Yeah, Avatar adaptation. I like that. That's cool, man. So yeah, I mean, and you guys are playing, of course, across the sea where you're from and everything like that. I mean, and what's kind of cool about festivals and music festivals across the way is that they just seem bigger. They seem like they're massive, and then you come to like this one, and it's like in a baseball park. You know, so I mean, the difference between the big rock festival in say France versus like here in America, what kind of difference as an artist do you see?
Well, once you're on stage, there are smaller and bigger festivals on both sides of the pond, obviously. But overall, I feel those kind of the bigger festivals in Europe have probably had more time to there's some longevity to it. They've been around for longer and had more time for trial and error.
Yeah.
But we've been doing this for like almost a decade now, going to the States, and the change for a lot of festivals, the improvement of them, although all across the board is significant. You know, so it's the U.S. is catching up.
Yeah, I mean,
But then when you have those massive one like Wacken or the Downloads of the world or Hellfest, as you mentioned, France, and we were just there, that you are able to gather 40, 50,000 people in front of you that easily, that's kind of cray-cray. And in Poland, there was that one with 200,000 or 300,000 in front of you, it was intense.
That's got to be mind-blowing, man.
Well,
just seeing
you
that
lose
sea.
count after you understand what 5,000 people looks like. You understand what 1,000, 100, 30, 300. You understand those numbers. You kind of gauge that,
Right.
But past 5,000 is just a bunch.
sea.
It stops being. It's the individuality kind of fades away, and it just becomes a mass of something. Then, of course, again when 200,000-300,000 poles jump. It's a sight to behold. Then there's just no end of it.
There's
But
an
that's also the
earthquake.
extreme case. Yeah.
Yeah, earthquake happening. There's like a sea of people. kinda
Exactly.
going around.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest things, and I've got my Kiss socks on right now.
Oh, yeah.
I've been a huge guy that's into theatrics when it comes to rock. I love, I love seeing a band go up on stage and perform, and it's amazing. But you guys put so much more into it. You got the makeup, you got the show, you got the banner in the background. What are kind of some of your influences on bringing out that performance aspect of you guys?
Kiss is absolutely one of them. Just in the general tradition of doing more with your show, that goes to I don't know, of course, we're Scandinavian, so we are Iron Maiden kids above all else, and that whole, early mid '80s era of Priest, Maiden, those stuff.
Yeah.
Kiss, of course. Then of latter days, Rammstein,
Yeah.
so that, and everyone really, but it started even earlier for me, like just as a 6-year-old, I was already very much into. That was at the height of Michael Jackson. It was Dangerous album came out around that age and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was all on TV, and just I think it kind of ingrained in all of us separately that is, you always take those extra steps in one direction or another. And it also, because I think it goes hand in hand with the music, which is the most important part. Like what we do works because I feel like we look the way we sound. And I love down and dirty, torn up sweatpants kind of hardcore show as well, if the music aligns with it,
Yeah.
So it's all about just having, getting your ducks in a row, I guess, and just extending the expression of who you are.
Yeah.
And for me, that then falls back on also a lifelong love of professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Where, all these art forms, and I feel rock and roll is very similar to wrestling as it is to, I don't know, stand-up comedy or even, magic shows and stuff. There are these kind of performing arts that you do that's kind of locked in and choreographed. You get, I don't know, ballet or musical theater or theater for that matter, right? Where it needs to, you just do that exact thing and just try to hone it in and nail that exact thing.
Yeah.
We do that half of the time, as does a stand-up comedian.
Right.
But the audience changes, they move, they breathe, they affect you.
Yeah.
And so I'm very much always looking into those kind of ways of performing. And again, wrestling, maybe more than any other thing like that, is so dependent on that you really need to decide for the crowd where they understand where they are at, so you know where to bring them and stuff, and that is an ongoing thing throughout a set. So this goes in. I can talk about this part of it for hours.
I love it though, because when the moment you mentioned professional wrestling, I'm like, exactly. There is such, when they call it ripping a promo, where like, say Macho Man Randy Savage is up there and he's sitting there and he's just off the cuff, going on his own way, cream rise to the top. I'm just like, these guys.
Cup of coffee in the big time.
Yeah.
My macho voice is terrible, but yeah.
Right. But just that, it's that performance. It's that, and like when you see, like, say, Stone Cold Steve Austin in the early 2000s, and he gets up on the turnbuckle and he puts his arms up in the air, and it's just that feed.
Exactly, that feed.
Man,
and certain things will happen. He will stump a mud hole in a corner and stuff, but there's also the moments, again, if they're doing the house shows or the WrestleManias, and how you have to pace yourself depending on the audience, and like the art form of what we do, I always feel like we go back to Iowa that time many moons ago, is how do you make a small place feel big? And that's the lesson number one that you need to learn growing up in the youth centers, in the battle of the bands and stuff. How do we, dress for the job you want, not the job you have?
Yeah.
And build that attitude and stuff to make things feel big. But once things start to get big, comes the next challenge, which is how do you make a big place feel small?
Right.
Which is, is how there are real practical things, like how you divide just the audience where you look and stuff. Because it's easy. In the early days, you only got a front row, if you're lucky. So you look down. And there's a lot of interaction going on there easily, and those people will sing along and all
ready
that.
To go, man.
But exactly. But then you also have to remember, you want to reach all the way to the back. And that's body language, that's projection, that's just posture, and that is, again, how you communicate. And also, I guess, the pacing on it. You need the oxygen tank seats to also be engaged in it, and that's the next level of it. That's the Steve Austin side of it. You just reach, and and especially when one of his things is to show his teeny tiny middle finger down there, and that feels like it's in your face when you're all the way in the back.
He's talking to me right now, even though I'm 90 rows that way. And that is just, and so many things go into it that I guess you always do your best job if it seems real to you when you do it, like that it means something to you. So again, it roots in what your personality is. That is so cool, man. Wow, you're hitting so many levels, because when I see bands, and again, I was raised on like Kiss and seeing all these performance heavy bands, Iron Maiden. Yeah. And I, like I mentioned before, I love seeing, the guys with the ripped jeans and they go up there and do the thing. But there's so much, and you just made me respect the whole art of it, the whole art of the performance so much, because like there's so much more than just throwing on the costumes and getting out there and doing things. It's like, no, there's more to it.
The ultimate example for me, like that, it has to again. Bruce Dickinson in Gene Simmons' face paint wouldn't work. That is not, you know, there's no universal answer to any of this. And I remember we saw a bunch of us a couple years ago. We went and saw him at home in Gothenburg. It was a co-headlining bill between Cannibal Corpse and Behemoth. And Behemoth were on first of the two, but I think they played equal length sets and everything. Yeah. And Behemoth had all their stuff, you know, and all their intros and smoke coming out, and you. Whether you were a believer in something or not, when you were in there, you sold your soul to something else, you know, and that's that energy of it and the synchronization, and and it's perfect. It doesn't get better than this. And then it's Cannibal Corpse. They remove all the stuff. They should probably put their backdrop, iron it out a little bit. This wrinkly little backdrop in the back.
Note to self, Cannibal.
T-shirts that used to be black are now gray. The intro was. Turn off the light, turn on the light, oh wait, turn it off again. Walk on, lights on, 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. And it's like, this is perfect, doesn't get better than this. This is kind of like, so it's this ultimate expression of who and what you are, right? And again, switch places. Put a dress Cannibal Corpse up as a Polish black metal band, and it's terrible. You know, so it's so interesting, that part of it. Like, it has to be something that feels sincere, I guess.
And to compare with you, years ago, Rock on the Range, Rob Zombie and Limp Bizkit. You know, Rob Zombie comes up and he's got the big everything, the big show, and it's great. It's fantastic. And and Limp Bizkit was after him. I'm just like, there's no way. I mean, like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm like, how are you gonna top Rob Zombie? And Rob Zombie comes out and it's amazing, blows my mind. Then Limp Bizkit comes out and they do their thing, and I'm just like, why is this so much fun? Because they know exactly what they're doing, and that's what they're there to do.
Exactly that.
So cool. Well, holy crap. I could sit here and chat with you for like the next 9 hours, but I know you got to relax for a bit. I mean, we're in the air right now on a plane, so I mean, we'll land in America eventually, but we'll get there. Dude, such a pleasure, man. Thank you so much, dude. And it was wonderful to talk to you about just the art of performance, because
I like your nerdy tats.
Oh, dude, yeah, man. I got all sorts of video games. I'm still covered in them, man. So
actually, because just in the last few days, there's a YouTuber called 8-Bit Theory that does a deep musical analysis based on video game soundtrack. And the last couple of things I watched was actually Legend of Zelda and Mega Man related. So I've been watching your sleeve in the last few days. You just didn't know it.
No, well, son of a bitch, he knew it all along. Last night, actually, before we came here, the Grand Rapids Symphony was doing the music of Final Fantasy.
Oh, cool.
So we went to that, and I'm just like, all right, big old nice fantasy night. We'll dress up nice, and then we're going to go just get rained down at a rock festival. So
everything is in place.
It sure is. Again, one more time. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Check out Avatar. Do not miss them. I mean, dude, this has been my favorite interview of the day so far, and it's only just begun. I can't wait. So go check them out, man.